Well, this is not good. The Hope of the Morning is starting off good for most, but it definitely is not starting off good for Aston Martin as we are getting closer and closer to the first Grand Prix of the season. And right now, what Aston Martin has managed to do is spend a plethora amount of money into facilities, into Alonso, into Lance Stroll, into Adrian Newey, into a new car, into Honda power units, and evidently into their new medical health program that will be needed because Alonso is claiming that the car is so bad when it comes to vibration that he may indeed suffer from nerve damage. This is not a good start, although, as I said, I'm not completely out on the team because I don't know about that. I might have to change my opinion on being out on Aston Martin, but I'm still got to give them some time. I got to give them some time. Nothing changes about the agenda except for it just got worse. All right. Still Aston Martin effectively in some ways as a new team coming to the grid. Good news is Deanna Patrick is gone from Sky Sports. We won't have to be terrorized with her wildly bullshit takes. So that is definitely good. But in some other ways, Aston Martin is about to try. What's going on, Roxanne? Good morning to you. Aston Martin is about to drastically try the patience of Alonso. So what we have here, just getting right to it, out of the gate, is it says Aston Martin, as we know them, and it is what it is, but Aston Martin Chief Adrian Newey on Thursday revealed Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll fear permanent nerve damage from extreme vibration in their cars and are unlikely to complete the Australian Grand Prix. Now, I don't know if some of you all have heard that they don't even think they can probably make it through quarter of the race. I think as many laps as they can make, it might be the shortest variation of a race that you can set in the Formula F1 2025 game on EA Sports. You can go for like 25 laps or so. I think it's the short variation. They're pretty much effectively saying they can only make it that far. The issues through toward preseason testing, including unreliable Honda power unit and a lack of spare parts. Now, I don't know if that's completely true. I don't know if Honda's power unit was unreliable more so than it was the gearbox not working well with the power unit. I don't really think that might be completely accurate. I know they also have some battery issues due to the packing or the packaging of the car. I'm not sure if that might be completely accurate about saying Honda's power unit is unreliable. I think Honda, although mixed into that equation and problem, not completely the problem there. So I think that might be a little bit too out on one side. They were the slowest car with fewest laps, completing a total of just 128 over 3 days in Bahrain, the equivalent of many teams did in one day. Now, that is not an overstatement. All right, 128 laps over 3 days is absolutely ridiculous. There were teams that had well into, I would almost say, man, I don't want to overshoot, but I would almost say there were probably teams that had 1,000 laps or more. All right, and we can probably look into that real quick just to see if I'm over exaggerating that, but I do want to say that there were teams that had close to 1,000 laps within that day's period. So I'm just gonna look and see if we can find that. Yeah, so we got lap time, fastest lap time. I want completed laps, total laps. So there were teams that had 432 laps, 400 laps, 39 laps. Matter of fact, you can see it right here. And I really want to say that might be for one day. All right. I want to say that might be for one day. Okay. 432 laps, 407 laps, 404 laps, 395 laps. So maybe that is actually for the entire time. So that's for the entire time. Aston Martin had 128 laps, which you see right here. And then you have Mercedes with 432 laps, Red Bull coming in second with 407 laps, McLaren 395, and Alpine 359, and so on. So top teams had the most laps. Mercedes, Red Bull, and Haas did. McLaren would fall right there, and then Ferrari fall kind of 324. So yeah, that's three times the laps were completed by other teams. So what teams did in a total of 3 days, Aston Martin only did in 1 day. So I don't know where. I think where I saw the total laps was a combined of 2 teams in one report that just said they had the most laps overall. But regardless, Aston Martin is sitting at the bottom of the barrel even when it comes to that. All right. So then we have total laps by kilometers by driver. All right. 240 by Lindblad had the most, whereas Russell came in with 235 laps here. And you'll see that Lindblad right here, Russell 235 laps, Piastri 202 laps, Ocon. And when we get to the Aston Martin team, you'll get down here and see that we have Alonso and Stroll at the very bottom. Very bottom right here. 96 laps for Alonso and 32 laps for Stroll. Okay, they're at the bottom of the barrel with everything. Of course, that's just going to keep correlating and rippling through as far as when it comes to them. 128 laps is going to be the same thing for the engine. And then the total preseason combined, that's what I was looking at kilometers, whereas Aston Martin only had 2,111 kilometers. So, yeah, it's not a good situation for Aston Martin right now. It's definitely not looking good. What's up, Gary, in the Super Chat, man? I hope the little one is doing good. What's up, Julius? Good morning. So it's looking very, as Baraka would say, it's looking very spooky for Aston Martin. Okay, because now your drivers are talking about fearing bodily injury from driving this car. So when we get further into it, it also goes, the matters have not improved as they prepared for the season opening race in Melbourne this weekend. And do remember, Aston Martin already had rumors that they were going to pretty much not show up for the race. Then, two, they were going to show up for the race and only do the formation lap, and then progressively to formation lap, and then maybe a few laps and retire the car. To now, their drivers are talking about fearing bodily injury, harm, due to extreme vibrations from this car, to the point we're talking about nerve damage. So it has just been a progressively bad thing for Aston Martin from testing all the way to now. Adrian Newey is on the hot seat. The vibration situation could very well be a result of aerodynamics. Do not forget, we haven't heard some talk like this since the ground effects era coming in, and they had to deal with porpoising, where drivers were in fear of their health being jeopardized in. Now this is just isolated to one team. One team, 2 drivers are complaining about bodily injury due to the vibrations of the car. What's going on, Wildcat? So getting down here, it says Newey revealed both drivers were suffering such severe vibration through the steering wheel that they would only be able to complete 25 to 15 laps respectively. Okay, that is wild. The vibration into the chassis is causing a few reliability problems. Mirrors are falling off, tail lights falling off, all the sort of things which we are having to address. But the much more significant problem with this is the vibrations transmitting ultimately into the driver's fingers. This is bad. We're talking about this is almost comparable to somebody in my car culture having an unlimited amount of money, building a car that is a shitbox. And remember that I did tell you all something to this. Just because you have a bag of riches and you've accumulated all the gems and jewels doesn't mean you know how to wear that shit correctly. Just because you have money, it doesn't make you smart. Just because you have an abundant amount in your bank account doesn't mean you know how to spend it. And I told you that Lawrence Stroll might indeed be in fear of or in jeopardy of looking like the Jerry Jones of Formula One. I'd write any amount of check to get a championship. Well, guess what? Money doesn't always win championships. And right now, Lawrence Stroll is finding out that acquiring all the bags of riches and the sport is not going to win you a championship. Adrian Newey, who is an excellent, one of, if not the GOAT in engineering, is running up into a challenge right now. And I'm not even sure right now, is it Ferrari that came out on top by not having Adrian Newey, or is it Aston Martin who came out on top by at least having Adrian Newey be able to address these problems? But what I do know right now is you let Felipe Drugovich, an F2 champion, walk out of the door just to keep Lance Stroll, who is not on the level. You got Alonso, who already had a bad stained past with Honda by saying GP2 engines, and he's older now, and this vibration through his old bones is not going to do well. You also have Lance Stroll, who is already at risk for missing parts of the season due to his wrist injury when he probably should have never been in a car prematurely to begin with. You got Adrian Newey, who likes to do certain things his own way. He is also playing two positional roles, so there is no buffer there. So if things are going to go wrong, they're going to go wrong immediately and big. You got Lawrence Stroll, who is incapable right now of being just a team owner instead of a father, and risking the team going down the drain just so he can one day sit on a rocking chair on a porch and say to his son, I spent a lot of money for you to enjoy your time in Formula One with all those great drivers. I'm a great dad. Right now, Aston Martin is looking like ass. Aston Martin's looking like ash right now, but not out on them. Like I said, I'm going to give them some time. New team, kind of effectively works team. All these things got to come together. Gary in the super chat says, basically, Aston Martin built a slow top fuel dragster. Pretty much. I don't even know if it's a top fuel dragster. The only thing I give it comparable to the dragster is the amount of vibration that's going to go through that damn chassis when it comes off the line. This is spooky right now. This is spooky. They don't have. They literally might show up to the race and just do press. If you have, and I don't know if they're overselling it because Alonso or Stroll, but I can tell you right now, if you've got that much vibration going through the car, transmitting into the driver's fingertips, then hands, Lance ain't gonna make it a whole season. He's not gonna make it a few races like that. He's already going to be compromised. Lance Stroll is completely compromised at this point in time. It's not going to go well, all right? And here we see that Lance says, I guess like electrocute yourself. I can't even believe this guy said this shit. All right, this is exaggerating. In my opinion, I think this is exaggerating. I guess like electrocute yourself in a chair or something like that, and it's not far off. It's bad for the engine, but also the human inside the car. I don't know if it's quite like electrocuting yourself in a chair. That's basically the death penalty. If that's what you're meaning to say, that's bad. And I guess, Mike, what's going on in the Super Chat? Did you hear what Lewis said about Africa at the press conference today? So brave and powerful. Our gold is back. I did not hear that, but I will look into it in a bit. And, of course, he is the GOAT. Julius says they got rusted G-body out there. Hey, bro, don't be talking no shit about no G-body, Julius. Don't do that. Don't do that, bro. You know I got a G-body project going on right now. Yeah, it has some rust in it, so I had to get the floor pans. I got the floor pans replaced, okay? But don't G-body shame me here, man. Don't do that right now. Julius got jokes. But, yeah. This is what they got. This is what they're dealing with. And it's not good. It's just not good right now. It's not a good look. It's not a good situation. Alonso here saying that Fernando is of the feeling that he can't do more than 25 laps consecutively before he will risk permanent nerve damage into his hands. Lance is of the opinion that he can't do more than 15 laps before the threshold. So this is what I'm saying. You got a younger driver who is going to not be able to do 10 more laps than Alonso, but he got to do 10 less laps than Alonso. Lance Stroll, if Alonso could do 25 laps, Lance should be able to do 35 laps. But remember, Lance is compromised because of his wrist situation, so maybe that's why. This is also why you don't let Felipe go out the door, because Lance Stroll is not going to be that guy. I know this is a situation that is not just Lance Stroll and his ability. It's an external thing with the car impacting the drivers, but this is also why you need to understand not only is Lance Stroll not that good of a driver, he's also compromised physically due to his wrist injury. I don't think that completely healed, and if it did, it didn't heal good enough for him to be able to sustain at least 25 laps compared to Alonso. But then again, Alonso outdoes him anything. Outdoes him in qualifying, outdoes him in podium, so maybe he's going to outdo him in laps in a bad shitbox car too. So I think there's no point in not being open and honest in this meeting. Adrian Newey, considered the greatest designer the sport has seen, we are going to have to be very heavily restricted on how many laps we do in the race until we get on top of the source of the vibration and improve the vibration at the source. You definitely need to do that. There was speculation before the Australian Grand Prix that the team may not even compete, but it arrived as planned. Aston Martin had entered 2026 with high expectations given the arrival of Newey, who was also appointed team principal. Yeah. Well, that's all, folks. It's a done deal, okay? It's going to be rough road sledding or snow sledding. It's going to be rough for Aston Martin, period. It's not going to be rough road travel. This season is going to be a debacle. So I hope you have a good morning. I hope you stay safe. I hope you have a good day. Remember what I'm saying? They're still kind of works team. I'm going to give them a little grace. I'm going to give them at least half the season to see if they can at least get some of this stuff shook off. And that's legitimate. Half the season is what it might take them before they even start looking like they're getting in stride. So that being said, peace and love. I'll see y'all on the next one.